79th Halas, what it is, what it do. Since Bobby Ingram, Curtis Ennis, know that we been loyal even when we wasn't winning. A trusted source for the news. 79th Halas.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. 79th Halas, week 2, training camp recap for y'all, man. This is episode 224 of this glorious podcast that you guys are a fan of. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. We got a lot of followers this week, too, I realized. I think we gained like 400 extra followers this week. And I think a lot of that was from the interview, and then also some of our camp reactions. But a lot of people like the Tyreek Stevenson interview I did, and I appreciate all y'all. My interview got chopped up and thrown on a random niggas TikTok. I thought that was pretty cool. Altogether, we got like a couple thousand views from my Instagram, my TikTok, and of course Twitter. Got a lot of views on that. I had a couple people stop me at camp. Shout out my man Greg Braggs Jr. Saw him at camp a couple times this week. Just a lot of people tweeting. I appreciate all the love y'all from the interview, and y'all, that's just one of many player interviews y'all be getting from us this season. Me and my brother will be switching off. Any big interviews we're gonna try to get both of us at the same time doing that. But Flows is next up on deck for the next interview we get. So appreciate everybody for supporting that. But if you are a new listener to this podcast, you can follow me on Twitter at BarbChairScott. You can follow Flows at Flows Andolini. You can follow 79th Halas, 79th and Halas. And also you can follow the great network that this podcast and many others on, the Barbers Chair Net at Barbers Chair Net on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. We have 3 different tiers. And shout out to everybody who subscribed to the new 79th Halas still. We got a lot of new subscribers this week. So if you just want 79th Halas content, you'll be getting through the regular season. And of course, now because every episode of this podcast will be up on the Patreon at least a day or two before it hits the regular Barbershare feeds. So if you want to be the first ones to check out the content, subscribe to the $5 79th Halas tier. If you're somebody who you just like listen to summer sessions, which is me, JR Bang, Pavy, Murphy, when we just talk about random stuff that's going on in the world, in entertainment, and just our lives, you can follow that. And with the $5 summer sessions tier. And then if you want everything that we have on the Barbershare Network Patreon, just subscribe to the Barbershare All Access tier, which is just a $10 holla, man. So we appreciate everybody who supports everything we do. Flows, how you feeling?
Well, I just woke up recently, so a little sleepy.
It's a lazy Saturday today.
It really is. We were not there. There were some complications that prevented us from being in practice, and then tomorrow is Family Fest Day. So enjoy let's make a few throws for the fans and call it a day session.
Much. And there's 50-50 chance it might get canceled because it might be raining tomorrow. So
yeah. And Monday's off. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday I'm back at work. So, and then I think they go to Indianapolis next week. Anyway,
you're back at work on Friday,
unfortunately.
So you will be at the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday practices. Okay, just make sure we on the right. I always like to know when I have to drive. This will be our last week of camp coverage. I think there's only like one more week of camp after this. 1 or 2 more weeks. I'm not 100% sure, but
yeah.
When's the last actual camp practice?
So next week. So next week, of course, is everything, and then the week of the 14th, everything will be in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And then the week of the 21st, you'll have 3 practices, but then you're starting with
the regular protocol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because after the week,
realistically, it's only 2 more weeks of camp after 3 more if you include, right?
Yeah, because the week of the 21st, there is 2 practices, and then the rest you can't see. Okay. No practice viewing period. That's when they start game plan and everything.
Yeah. So that's when they only let the media watch warm-ups, and then we gotta go back to our little cubicles. But anyway, so yeah, this will be this upcoming week. So the week of the 8th will be our last week of training camp coverage. Joe begins work on Friday. I will be back in Los Angeles on Monday. Now I will be in LA for a couple weeks. Then I will be back first week of September. I'm going to be doing at least 14 games this year.
Yeah.
So I decided not. I'll probably only be in LA for a total of 6 weeks for the rest of this entire year. We are on the season grind. So this will be our upcoming our last week of camp. Coverage, and we got an event in like a month. We're not ready to announce it yet, but we will be having a flyer out within the next couple weeks with all the information. It's gonna be a great time. And there's gonna be some cool prizes too. So, look out for information on that within the coming weeks if you are in the Chicagoland area, man. So, and like I said on the podcast, on the Twitter a couple days ago, merchandise is coming next month, and it will be at this event. So you might want to come to this event and get your first, be the first ones to get some 79th Halas merchandise. But week 2 is in the books. There was, before today, it was what, 4 practices this week, or
something like that.
Or some. Joe went to 2. I went to all 4. And before we get to the actual signings that happened this week, 2 big signings happened this week. What's your thoughts on this second week camp, man? I thought it was kind of chippy this week.
Yes, definitely. This is what happens when the pads get on. Of course, I have no clue what it's like to play in the NFL, but I know in high school, as soon as our pads went on after 2 days, because we had mini camp 2 days, which was a week, I think, maybe a weekend, I can't remember, week. And then we got into real training camp, and as soon as the pads went on, people were chirping, people were talking. And if the defense got an interception, a fumble, they got a big hit in. And bear in mind, high school hits more than the NFL. Not because it's tougher, just because high school is stupid and we hit more than the NFL. And so we in there smacking niggas and taking full-blown tackles. The defense gets chippy. It's just the defense is chippy by nature. And you want your defense to be chippy. I don't want to see them get a big play and then do nothing. I want to see them be amped because it's like the defense lives and dies on – what would be the word? On momentum.
Juice is the word that's been thrown a lot at camp this week. Juice.
They live and die on that. And so I love to see that happen within defenses. It's cool. It's fun to see. It's fun to see that that they're getting amped up and everything. And so it's just a part of training camp. I like it.
Yeah, I think this week, man, like you said, when the pads came on, which is something that everybody was anticipating for the pads to come on, I liked what I saw from both teams, especially the defense. I think the big hype coming into this season is all about the offense. What Justin Fields is going to do? What's the wide receiving core going to do? What's this new look offensive line going to look like? And we were all kind of like, the defense is whatever because, the pass rush, and we'll get to the pass rush in a minute. But I got to say, man, the defense this week showed up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The defense showed up this week. Eddie Jackson, his presser yesterday, he had me fired up. He was talking about, it was good to see Eddie smiling and happy because it's not been a good couple of years, not just for Eddie being hurt. And, of course, before last year, his productivity was down a little bit. The team hasn't been good since 2018. And that was his second year in the league. But you can see some of that spark coming back. And Eddie is the elder statesman on this defense. He's the one who has been in the league longer than anybody. I think maybe outside of Tremaine Edmonds. I think him and Tremaine might be the same class. They were both drafted in 2017. I think him and Tremaine were drafted the same year.
There's no one on the defense from 2018 there, right?
He's no, he's the only one.
The only one.
Eddie's the only one.
Offensive wise, was Cody Whitehair there yet?
Cody Whitehair. If you want to do in total, only people on this team who were on the 2018 was Cody Whitehair, Eddie Jackson, and Patrick Scales. That is it.
Patrick Scales, that's right.
That's the only people from that team. Actually, Eddie Jackson and Tremaine Edmonds were drafted the same year. But the other two,
2017.
So they're the oldest people on the oldest, 10-year players on the defense. But Eddie's been here the longest. Eddie is part of that 2017 class. You know what I'm saying? He's the one of the last people here. You know what I'm saying? And to see he was excited and he was talking about, that's just the juice. And one thing that I like what we're seeing in camp, not just from this, but even kind of like with the Cowboys with Trayvon Diggs and when he was talking to Dak. Now, granted, there wasn't no crazy talking to Justin this week, but I think
I don't care what anybody says. You just don't say that.
Yeah.
And you know what? I take that back. It could be because we're from Chicago and there are certain words you don't
There's
say.
certain words we don't say.
Like, what's the LA word that you just don't say if you want to
Goofy.
play?
No, not goofy. Weirdo. My bad.
We say weirdo.
Weirdo is what goofy is in Chicago.
Weirdo, we said it all the time. I'm like a weirdo. Boy, you ass weirdo. And nothing happens.
Yeah.
I guess you said that LA, it's
call somebody weirdo in LA, it's gonna be a problem.
And so it could just be that in Chicago, we just don't say that to one another.
Yeah.
Like you said, boy, goofy ass nigga, like I'm gonna want to fight you. That means you want to throw down with me. I don't know what the white person word is. Get fucked or something. I don't know.
Right.
I have no clue what the word is. But for black folks, that's you want to fight. And so to hear, and then Diggs might be how they do where they from. I don't know. But what do you say?
Well, he went off on Shady McCoy because Shady McCoy said they don't respect him. He said we never, defensive players never talk like that to Donovan or Vic, or Big Ben or whatever when whatever teams he was at. And he was like, "No, we respect him. We just in a hit a battle. He don't know what he's talking about." Da 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 da. But my point is, defenses are supposed to be aggressive. Now we can debate whether that was a little bit over the line or whatever, but there wasn't none of that towards, Justin. But one thing Eddie did say yesterday was, your defense, we're supposed to be riled up. He said the offense, not to say that the offense have a lot of silent assassins. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He said they speak with their action. He said, and they came with it today. He said, we got in them on Wednesday. They came right back. Me and T-Main, talking about Tremaine, we said, me and T-Main, we had to like, we got to get at them in 11 on 11s. And so he was talking about praising Jaquan Brisker. So there's two people to me who I think is having the best camp. Is, outside of the obvious Justin Fields, but the two best people having the best camp, Chase Claypool and Jaquan Brisker. And he said when Yannick and Ngakoue news broke down, he said it was 8 p.m. He was asleep. He said Jaquan texted him like, "Yo, it's up." Now I was down laughing because when he said that, one of the media members, I won't name who they was like, "So what did the text say?" I was like, "Nigga, he said it's up." like that's what you don't know what that means. Where he was just like, "It's up." So you can just see the energy and excitement coming from Eddie and just this entire defense this week. And just, I feel like with the pass coming on, it was a lot more vocal. And even Darnell Mooney was like, and I think that's why hearing stuff and seeing stuff is a lot different than what's reported. Because there was some Bears fans who took what Darnell Mooney said, like, oh, we need to be more talkative. And that starts with the quarterback, like he was being, just calling Justin out. And he wasn't calling Justin out. He was just saying, like, we look up to him. He's got to be more aggressive. And honestly, people forget Mooney's a vet. You want your vets to say that. You know what I'm saying? Justin's the leader of the team. Mooney a vet. He's been in the league longer than Justin. Yeah. So he's like, we just need him to speak up a little bit. We know he can. We know what he's been able to do. So I just felt like this week in general was just more vocal. There was a play I saw Jaquan Brisker walked up to Luke Getz. He was like, boy, stop playing with me, run something else, which I thought was amazing. And even Getsy's young the team, getting like, we need to get into it. And one thing I loved about it, you can see that Eberflus is a real football guy. Flus is just taking all this in and just like he's loving everything that's going on. So I feel like this was a real productive week of camp. Hot week, by the way. I was cooking yesterday, but it was a good week.
Yeah, I say the same too. Everything has to come with context because training camp, there's no gamemanship. There is no how we're going to plan and anticipate the defense. Right now, you're getting yourself ramped up. During the offseason, it was your time to get in shape. And Matt praised the players, specifically Darnell Wright, for remaining in shape and for being ready. Training camp starts. It's time for us to get back to the speed of playing football. So the cornerbacks get used to putting that muscle memory to work against the wide receivers and other skill players. The quarterbacks get used to making that those small window throws to getting that timing down. But you're not gaming the other team. Other defense. You're not gaming the offense. You're there just to run some plays in order to get yourself prepared for that. And so you're going to have some days where the defense does well, the offense does well. You don't want to have a camp where one side is dominating. That means the other side stinks.
And that's what Justin was saying too. Another media member who I will not name was questioning him, and he was just like, "Well, yeah, the defense is supposed to make it better. If we were just running all up and down the field, that wouldn't be good."
Yeah. You would want that. You would want your offense to have a good day, to have a good session, and your defense to have a good day, have a good session. I saw some people who were with the 49ers. Trey Lance had 5 good days of practice. I'm like, that's good, but you also want him to go little negative sometimes.
You're not hearing that about Brock Purdy in camp, are you? No, you're not.
You know what I'm saying? You don't. And I remember people used to do that with Mr. Trubisky. You know, I did. Look at him putting together a good string of players.
Yeah.
Like, we're babying him. You want the players to have some struggles, some gains, because you want them to get back in shape for when it's time to play football. And so as the preseason games continue to roll, I don't care if a mistake happens. That's what the point of this for. You want to see that happen. You want to see them deal with it. And so I think it was a really good week of practice. It seems today it was the same too, a bit of a balance. We weren't there, but let's look at my boy Zach Pearson, who had a few notes. And
shout out to Zach.
So, so my boy said Justin was sharp, defense was sharp here. Jaquan Briscoe, well, not Jaquan Briscoe, wasn't practicing, but I forgot who they said looked sharp today on defense. So yeah, that's what you like to see. And so that's training camp though, man. You can't, just like I think they said some quarterback threw 2 interceptions or interception. No, it was Bryce Young. He threw an interception in the last 5 days. I'm like, first off, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
He's young, and he's not used to the speed of even NFL practicing.
Yeah.
This ain't a game, just NFL practicing. He's fine. As of now, he's fine. But I wonder if these organizations have to write those. Should this be a cause of concern for fans? So you can the clickbaity headline so that you can view the article.
A lot of the media, they work for bigger companies, so like you need people to click the articles, and also a lot of these papers, because we know about. I'm not going to get into the business history of papers today, but a lot of them are behind a paywall. So you got to have some type of headline to make people want to pay that $2 to read what they're saying. So it's a little bit of drawback in that too. But like you said, like in interceptions, me and you said this on the show multiple times. I've said this on I'm Not Gonna Hold You. Like I don't care about interception. We're in such a pass-heavy league now. As long as you're not over 15, as long as you ain't 15 and higher, who cares? Yeah. In practice, it's elevated because it's training camp. It's the beginning of the football season. This is where everybody there's really no games being played. It was only the Hall of Fame game, and the nasty man didn't play, and neither did Aaron Rodgers. So it was 2 backups going at it. So it's really nothing for us to talk about. So you're gonna make the smaller deals out of little situations, but more anything is, when you talking about quarterbacks, we know from a history of having bad quarterbacks. That's key words. We know a quarterback is bad. We've been hearing a lot I've seen Packers media just blasting Jordan Love, like blasting. So you can see when we had a good day or two. That means he's not good. You know what I'm saying? We've been saying that about Justin Fields. No, we have not. He had a good day today. Those are key words you want, but. There's 2 things that got thrown around Halas Hall a lot this week. It's juice was the word that was thrown around, and iron sharpens iron. That was the 2 things that was thrown around this week, and I think it was just really eventful. But I want to talk about before I talk about you were talking about the NFL speed. Tyler Scott, who had a really good presser this week, brought up that, and he was just saying how had to take him a while to adjust to the speed. Certain things he could do in college that he can't do now. And that's a big factor. And that's all what training camp is about. But I want to talk about Chase Claypool. What do you think about Chase this entire camp?
I honestly thought he was having a really good camp. And it seems like Justin is intent on finding him, intent on getting him involved. And it could be just a product of them building their chemistry together. But he looks in his intentionality is – evangelicals at seminary would say his intentionality was always seems headed towards Chase Claypool. Okay, let's get Chase Claypool involved. Let's get Chase involved in this. He's there. It's a tough catch. It's a defender draping on him. See if he can make a catch. And I think that bodes well for the offense. But of course, also Darnell Mooney is still getting revamped into the offense after suffering an injury.
And I think he looked good this week.
And so you want to see that. So no, yeah, I think that's a really good sign for Bears fans. And for the Bears themselves, just to have him, because if you have 3 good wide receivers, one being outstanding and DJ Moore, you have everything a quarterback needs. So yeah, I'm excited from what I saw.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like Justin has been intentionally finding Chase, and I always feel like all the heat that Chase has got here since October when he came, it's been stupid, and this just goes back to our fans' infatuation with draft picks. Draft picks they were going to use on a wide receiver 9 times out of 10 who wouldn't have been as decorated as Chase Claypool, number one. Number 2, Poles got that draft pick back in the DJ Moore deal, and I think in the in the Roquan or the Robert Quinn deal or whatever, he got those deals back, and you can't expect a guy to just come in middle of the season like in NFL up until the last 2-3 seasons. Mid-season trades never happen. This ain't the NBA or Major League Baseball. Like that type of stuff just don't happen. So you expect him to come in and do that. Now this year he's had a full off season. He's been with Justin. He's been with DJ. He's been with Darnell Mooney. There's been more, and you're seeing the guy that he was in Pittsburgh. And yes, we know that Pittsburgh has, in my opinion, the best coach in football, not named Bill Belichick, Mike Tomlin. I wish I would get rid of Flus today for Mike Tomlin. I get rid of every coach in the city for Mike Tomlin. But he come from such a great organization, such a wide receiver heavy franchise, like going all the way back to John Stallworth and Lynn Swann. They've always had great wide receivers. So when they dump somebody, you might say, "Oh, what's that?" It's like in baseball, never trade with the Tampa Bay Rays because they know something we don't. Like that's the kind of thing that they've had with the Steelers. So I get that, but I feel like Chase is setting himself up for a great year, and also he knows it's payday. It's payday, and if there's anything that Ryan Poles showed last week when he signed Cole Kmet, re-signed Cole Kmet, was if you do your job, he'll give you your money. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that both of these guys will be on the roster next year. I don't think Darnell Mooney and Chase. I think one of them will be on another team. I don't think he's going to pay for, especially with a high draft pick you got coming from Carolina. Depending on how high that pick is, that might be Marvin Harrison Jr. So one of them niggas is going to have to walk. And if Tyler Scott has a year we expect him to have, it's definitely not going to be that. He said this is going to be the biggest year of his career. So I just think he's been stepping up. He had 2 touchdowns yesterday in practice. The second one was hilarious because it was intended for Robert Tonyan. It bobbed off his hand into the air and landed right in the Chase Claypool's hand in the end zone, and the entire offense went crazy. So I just like what I've been seeing from Chase. I'm rooting for him, and I want him to shut some people up.
No, I agree. I think Chase Claypool, of course, it's all going to go back to Justin because he's the quarterback, the center of your offense. Seeing him get involved more shows the maturity of what Justin is doing. And, as I've said before, our view on Justin Fields is, I love the kid because I've been a Buckeye fan since I was a kid, and I want him to excel because he is a Buckeye, also because he is the best quarterback. But we're not going to handhold him. If he sucks, he sucked. When he had a practice, like 3 picks, Scott was like, it was a bad day for the offense. It was a bad day. We don't have to say, well, hey, he's put together 3 good days of practice. Like, no, I don't have to handhold him. We did that with Mitch, and I learned the moment I became a part of Bears media.
You only do that with Mitch and rookies.
Exactly. To be pragmatic. I'm going to say what's happening. And I think he's put together a very, very good, this is 3rd year, put together a very, very good tape to show how he is getting better.
Second year in the system, too, which helps things a lot. That's the biggest thing. We can say whatever about Jay Cutler. The biggest indictment, 2 biggest things that ruined Jay Cutler's time here is, outside of him not caring, but more than that is he never had an offensive line here. I think it was one year Jay got sacked like 90 times. Like, Jay never had an offensive line. And how many offensive coordinators did he have?
Yeah.
He had like a different offensive coordinator every 7 years, all 8 years he was there. So that's a big thing to be in the same system for consistent years. And that's what we've been seeing from Justin. But what I love the most from Justin was after his bad day on Wednesday, he came to the podium board. Like, and Justin's not really talkative.
No.
He was talkative, making jokes. Oh, it's all good. That's the type of stuff you want to see from your quarterback. And he comes out Friday, does what he needs to do.
I can't stress enough about mentality. If I was building the perfect NFL quarterback, I would probably have
I would have
the football IQ of Tom Brady. I would have the arm strength of probably Favre and Rodgers. I don't know, one of the two. I hate that it has to be them. I would have
Mahomes probably.
I think Aaron Rodgers is way more accurate than him. So I probably
that's actually 100% true.
Yeah. So I would have the
we can give compliments to Rodgers now that he's not our problem.
Exactly. I will watch the Jets with joy.
I'm looking forward to watching Hard Knocks on Tuesday.
Yeah, and so I will probably the arm, the strength, the accuracy, all of Mahomes. But the mentality when it comes to turnovers would be Jay Cutler. You know why? Because Jay Cutler didn't care. He did not care.
Yeah.
Jay Cutler for a second was one of the best at leading game drives. I just want y'all to remember.
No, he was great.
I want y'all to remember that. When it came push to shove, my boy Cuddy got it done. But that mentality of, oh well, he threw 6 touchdowns, six picks one game, 4 touchdowns and stuff like that. He didn't care.
Yeah.
And it's because when it comes to interceptions, obviously you want to care a little bit and say, okay, I was trying to pick on this cornerback, but he's starting to jump these routes. So maybe I'll have DJ Moore start to do a double move, hot routing. Or, you're speaking with your offensive coordinator, like, yeah, let's try some double moves because this cornerback is biting on those curl routes or those corner routes. Let's see if we can get him to bite on that double move and take it deep. Sure. But you also say, I threw an interception. Let's get back to it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to spend your time beating yourself up because in this past happy NFL, this is what happens. People like Aaron Rodgers, who only has 105 interceptions over his 15-year career, are anomalies.
That does funny. He's only played 15, but he's been in the league almost 20 years. It's crazy thing. People forget that he got drafted in 2004.
Yeah. You don't, and so I say that to say that you don't. That's an anomaly. Most people will never have that. Pat Mahomes is already well on his way to 100 interceptions, and Aaron Rodgers was nowhere near that during that period. So you just have to be able to say, you know what, I'll throw some interceptions, but this is the league that we're in, and move back and just continue to do it. And I think Justin's showing that the maturity to say, yeah, it happened, and then to move on. But also, you still want to limit it. Inside the game, I don't want to see 3 picks. But you still want to limit it and you still want to mature as a quarterback. But also realize the context, this is training camp. You won't really know well until maybe that second to last preseason game. Okay, you'll see a little bit of game and shit.
We'll see a little bit this Saturday. Flukes didn't comment on, they were asked Flukes this week what the how many reps the starters are going to get in this upcoming Saturday in the first preseason game against the Titans. He's like, oh, they'll play a little bit. My guess is probably only two series.
Yeah.
That's probably what I'm guessing for Saturday. Like I said, we're probably not going to see anything to the third preseason. And I'm glad that Flukes actually uses preseason because that was one of the many bad things Matt Nagy did in his time here. That nigga did not care about preseason. Now we all know the first month of the season across the league is glorified preseason. Everybody's trying to get their stuff together, but you still need reps. So you are correct about that.
Yeah, man.
I would say this, as before we get to the moves what happened this week, I just feel like one underrated guy that I feel like not a lot of people have been talking about who I thought had a really good week, and that to me would be D'Onta Foreman. He had a really good week this week. You can see different ways they're going to use him. He had like a touchdown just through him yesterday. It was really good to pass. That's something I feel like it's been a signing that kind of has gone under the radar because we all know about Khalil Herbert. All Bears fans are eager to see Roschon Johnson, who finally practiced today. And there's been a couple injuries this week, and Ryan Poles spoke to me today and basically confirmed that none of these are serious. That none of these players are in jeopardy of actually missing. Week 1, Tevin Jenkins was out there today. So I think it's just all precaution. And even with the different days, like you saw Eddie Jackson sit last week, we saw Jaquan Brisker sit today. Tremaine Edmonds has sat the last 2 days. Flu said that it's something they spoke to their trainers about, and it's more about giving them rest so they're coming to the season as prepared as possible. So biggest thing we've said on this podcast, I think the biggest thing in Bears Twitter, Bears media is coming into the season was the lack of pass rush. What was going to happen? Who are they going to sign? News broke on Thursday night that the Bears have signed former Indianapolis coach, defensive end Yannick. I don't know how to pronounce your last name. We fuck it up, man.
You know what? Yannick. I'm going to allow Wikipedia to show me how to pronounce Yannick Ngakoue.
Yannick Ngakoue. Okay, there we go.
Yannick
Ngakoue.
Yannick.
To a 1-year, $10.5 million deal. He was the biggest defensive end free agent left on the board. This is something where it's kind of been like a staring contest between his agent and Ryan Poles. First he wanted 3 years, $30 million. Then he wanted 2 years, $20 million. And then, you're getting closer to the season, you got to buckle. You know what I'm saying? But I think this is a great sign. This is a guy who 8 seasons in the league. He has had at least 8 sacks in 6 of the 8 seasons that he's played. Was great last year, 9.5 sacks, which is more than the entire Bears defense last year. He's very used to the system. When we spoke to him yesterday, he said the things that made him want to come here was number one because of the relationship he had with some of the assistant coaches who were some of his assistant coaches in Indianapolis. He really loved Rod Marinelli and this time that he used to have with the Bears. He knew him from being in Vegas. And then he also said like he felt like he was meant to be there because he had a bear tattoo. It's one of the things you tell the media to make them, feel, oh, this is cool.
Oh yeah, this is a great story.
This is awesome. So I love the signing. And before we get to the other one, what did you think about this signing?
Well, I think he had a very, very productive career in Jacksonville. I mean, this dude was averaging 8 sacks per year. He bounced around in 2000 because I think he got into it with I forgot the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, they traded him when they basically rebuilt that team.
What is that? What's the owner?
Jacksonville's team.
Nigga, shut up. What's the owner of the Jaguars called?
Tony Khan, right?
Tony? Because doesn't his son run AEW or something?
His son runs CEO WWE.
Really?
Yeah, remember when Ari Emanuel bought it.
Then what Khan runs AEW?
I think he left. WWE.
No.
CEO.
So
Nick Khan is CEO of WWE.
Nick Khan. Okay. So now I'm confused in business. No. I was right. So Shadid Khan is the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. His son Tony Khan runs the.
So Nick Khan isn't related to this nigga.
No.
Okay, it's just different Khan. All right, got you.
His son Tony Khan. I said it to say he got into it with, I believe, Shadid Khan, and they had arguments. Said they ended up trading him, and then he bounced around for 2020 with Minnesota, Baltimore, and then he went to the Raiders. Raiders, he had 10 sacks last year. He has 9.5. Coming off 2 very, very strong years, and he had more sacks than the entire Bears team. I mean, that in itself is an improvement.
Yes.
Because I think right now the biggest question was edge rushing. I've seen a lot from the Twin Towers in Gavon Dexter and Zach Pickens. Like
they had big weeks this week.
With respect to Justin Jones, if they perform, he might lose some tick and he might end up moving out.
Look, man,
because
they're a big week.
There's some big brothers. I mean, big. Like when I see them out there, I said, "Good Lord!" Like these dudes are huge, and you want them in those positions, occupying the A as the B gap. And then the only question now, of course, is the other end position. Probably which you'll have I forgot who the Bears have signed. DeMarcus Walker. DeMarcus Walker. So you have DeMarcus Walker now, and then you'll have Yannick Ngakoue, and then you'll have, of course, Justin Jones, Zach Pickens, Gavon Dexter,
Travis Gibson.
Travis Gibson sits in position. That would be inside. And so you'll see, it's a much, much, much better line. But I think the biggest thing is if those 2 interior players are great, it just frees up space for DeMarcus Walker and Yannick Ngakoue to do their thing. And if that happens, if those are great, you will see one of the greatest defensive revamps in the history of the NFL. What I mean by that is because it happened so quickly. You already love the linebacker position. You love the fact that you got Jermaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, who are solid, great linebackers. Then, of course, you have Jack Sanborn, and then Sewell, who will be occupying, I want to say those
Noah Sewell,
I think they're the Sam linebackers. I believe so. So you love to see that. Of course, I think you're going to see much more nickel this season. So you're going to see a lot of Kyler Gordon in there with who I believe will be Tyreek Stevenson will eventually be the starter. I'm not going to say Terrell Smith won't get that because he's been having a great camp too.
Terrell's having an amazing camp. I think a lot of this is going to come down to how they play in preseason.
That's true. And so I think, and then of course, Jalen Johnson. He may not have the stats, but he's one of the best corners in the league.
Jalen is a lockdown corner, and I stand by it.
Easily.
Like that's why I said last year, anybody who's like, oh, AJ Brown undressed him. No, even AJ Brown said, like, nah, like, don't get the yards messed up. A lot of them came on some deep balls. But remember, AJ Brown great.
And then the funny thing is, with a wide receiver and a cornerback, the cornerback has to play near perfect. The wide receiver just needs a couple passes. And if he played him 10 snaps where he got nothing, but then let's say due to a breakdown, he got himself a 30-yard pass. You go, oh man, it happens. It happens. And so for a cornerback, I think Jalen's great. He's not a ball hawk. I reserve the title ball hawk for Eddie Jackson and even Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. I think they have
Kyler, another great dude who had a great week this week.
So I'm looking for. I think the Bears defense has gotten completely revamped.
Yeah.
So I'm I think these signings are great. I think Ryan Poles, I see a lot of fans of Poles. King Poles done it, which is hilarious to me.
Which I like it, but let's not fall too in love with GMs yet.
I don't fall in love with GMs. I
Yeah.
don't fall in love with owners. I don't fall in love with players. I
Coaches.
fall in love with coaches.
I
I
fall
fall
in
in
love
love
with
with
coaches if they've
results.
been there long enough and they've had results. Like
I
if we had Mike Tomlin, I have mad Mike Tomlin gifts.
I fall in love with results. I am a fan of the Chicago Bears, the team,
Here's a
the
question for you.
nigga, shut
Who's
up.
a,
I'm still
I just
talking. Good
asked,
Lord.
okay,
You
go
just
ahead, my
butted in. I'm
bad.
I am in love with the concept of the team, the ontology of the team. What is that team? And when
College
you
word.
get into the nature, which is what ontology means of what a team is, it encompasses the results. It encompasses the results. What does this team does? I fell in love with the Bears, not because of um, Hollis, not because of the McCaskies. I could care less. But this was my team in my state, in my city. I fell in love with them, and I'm attached to them. Even though I cover them, I'm still attached to them. But I love more the results. I don't care who's there. Love Justin's quarterback, especially because he's a Buckeye. And with college teams, it's a little different because you tend to fall in love with coaches because they're typically there for a long time. But if he's not the guy, somebody else will be the guy. If this is not the player, somebody else will be the players because that's who I care about. But I say that to say the way Ryan Poles has been putting together this defense and this offense in a year later is fantastic. This is one of the best revamps we've seen. And if the defensive line, I think there are three players who I think have some of the most pressure from my perspective. It's those interior rookies and Justin. If those interior rookies are good, that defense will be probably middle from bottom of the league to middle of the road, maybe top 15, maybe top 12. If Justin is great, that offense can go from once again. Well, they were scoring for a certain period. They can go to around a top 12, top 10 offense if Justin is the person succeeding. So, yeah. And what was your question?
My question was, I do interrupt people. I'm trying to get better at that. But my question was, what current coaches in the NFL are worth standing if you're a fan?
Tomlin, Bill Belichick.
Andy Reid.
No.
What's up with Andy Reid disrespect?
Mm-mm.
Wait, any reasoning?
I saw too much when he was with the Eagles that I'll never forgive him for.
Was it him or that fraud Donovan McNabb?
Could have been that too. Because me and Scott were big McNabb fans back in the day.
I love McNabb until the Super Bowl. When T.O. out there with one leg.
He was also throwing some very, what would the word be?
Huff
play call. It was just bad. Yeah. Literally before Mahomes, Andy Reid had a reputation for not getting it done.
This is very true. You rest your case. But we'll go over the last signing before we wrap up. Mercedes Lewis was something that came completely out of left field. I did not expect this, whatever. I was on the way to Halas yesterday, and shout out Mikey. Mikey, and by the way, Mikey and Dante got a nice article right now about the MLB trade deadline winners losers. Check that out on the bcnet.com. He texted me with to send me the Tom Pelissero tweet, and Tom Pelissero, who was at Bears camp yesterday, I met him and Ian Rappaport. I am the NFL now. Let's be very clear. But it found out that Mercedes Lewis signed a 1-year deal. Terms of that deal were not disclosed. But this dude has been in the NFL for 18 years now. He's been in the NFL since I was in high school. First season was 2006. He has spent a great amount of his time with the Green Bay Packers in this current system that is run by Luke Getsy. He's a Luke Getsy guy. Didn't have many receptions last year, only six receptions for 66 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns in those. He will be a nice vet presence, somebody who understands the system, and he will be tight end 3 around, under Cole Kmet and Robert Tonyan. I personally like the signing. This is why I like it, because now you've got 3 reliable tight ends. And this is something in the system, not just in the system, but in this current NFL, where tight ends are as valuable as wide receivers. And you can never have too many touchdown catchers. And this is somebody who could be a red zone threat, somebody who's really going to help with blocking. And you always can use a vet who's been there. It can help out a relatively young team. And somebody who knows the system, somebody who he knows personally, working with him with his years in Green Bay. So I like it, man. I really like this signing. And I think it'll be good for the Bears. We didn't get a chance to speak to him because he was taking his physical while we were talking to Yannick and yesterday. So, but it is official. So we'll probably speak to him on Tuesday When they come back for camp, since they don't do press conferences before Family Fest. So what's your opinion on Mercedes Lewis signing?
Oh, it's good depth. Your tight ends are still going to mainly be Cole Kmet, Robert Tunyon. Mercedes Lewis can block when it's in the end zone, or he's a good solid red zone threat. So it's a good depth piece. I don't mind it. That's cool. There's really no way to describe that. Then it's cool.
It's smooth.
It's smooth.
It's smooth. I think that's all we have for y'all. The fact that we were able to do 40 minutes on a week 2 of training camp, I think this shows us how good we are at our jobs. But
basically,
that's all we've got for y'all today. Next week we will be at the preseason game, so we will be doing the podcast from Soldier Field, and it'll be up the same day. We'll talk about week 3 in camp, and we'll talk about how that preseason game went against the Titans next week at Soldier Field, and then that will conclude our training camp coverage. We'll still do breakdown pods of the remaining preseason games, obviously, but then pretty much it'll be like we'll be all full go when the regular season starts in about a month now. We're about a month away. Not that much longer we got. So to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BarberChair Scott, at Flo Zandolini. Follow the Barberchair Network at BarberChairNet on Twitter and IG. Follow 79th Halas at 79th Halas on Twitter. Subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/BarberChair Network. Man, we got 3 different tiers on there. It's $5 79th Halas tier, $5 Summer Sessions tier, and if you want all of them, get the Barberchair Network All Access $10 holler, man. So we'll holler at y'all after another great week of camp in the first preseason game, man. So we out of here.